You guys, thank you so much for joining today. I'm Jennifer Bagley, your host of the Catalyst for the Trades. I am really excited about our special guest today. I have Miss Jen McKee, who is making waves throughout the entire home services industry. I've seen her on stages at different speaking events. I know your travel schedule is very similar to ours. Thank you so much for joining Miss Jen from Keyheart Media, social media.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I'm glad that we were able to work this out because we were both different places and have crazy schedules. So this is perfect.
I feel sorry for everyone that tried to coordinate our schedules.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
You guys, whether you're listening live or you're joining the recording, we've had, I think, the last 7 weeks or so have all been on private equity acquisitions, mergers, and building the business. And we really felt like we need to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
we need
Let's
to
talk about
calm
something
down.
more fun.
Yes, I think it's been rather heavy over the last few weeks, valuable, but rather heavy. And
Yeah.
we want to make sure we're sitting in a good space, getting ready for summer. I've always looked at the busy season as the opportunity for mass volumes of content. I hear your dog. That's so
Oh
funny.
my gosh, I
Literally,
know because my
you-
son got home.
you're, you're freaking out because
It's going crazy. Anyways,
I like being an empty nester because I remember the moments when I would be sitting in my space and my kid would walk through the door and I'd be like trying to hold my face going, "Shh."
I know. Like I can't talk right now.
It's okay. Life is life. You're here.
I
So tell me
know.
a little bit about how you got started.
In social media or just in the trades or everything?
I would say, I
From
mean,
the beginning?
I think you've been on a lot of podcasts, so I think a lot of
Yeah.
people in the industry know. So give me the short story for people that do not know you, so we can dive right in to what are we going to
To
do
the
about
good
our social
stuff.
media?
For sure. So I am the founder of Keyheart Marketing, and we specialize in social media for the trades. Started off by I actually started in the restaurant industry, and I just didn't like the having to work when everybody else was off, especially with having kids. So I was trying to just figure something else out, and ended up doing social media on the side for a friend of ours that owned a bar. So because I knew the restaurant industry, that's where I thought I would end up is doing social media for them. And I got a plumbing client in 2021 who was just like, let's do everything. So we did, and it was really fun. We had a lot of good results, and she started referring me to people, and that's kind of how it got started. So ended up finding that this was an industry that needs social media, needs good social media, and there wasn't really anybody who was providing that at the level that we were. So got lucky.
Yeah, I love that. Well, lucky or fate, one of the two. I think that's
Both.
always a challenge, right? For
Yeah.
marketing companies, ourselves included. Like, it's very, very challenging running a team of 300 people and making sure that you're good at everything.
I
So
I don't think you can be. Like that's why I'm like, cool, I never have to do the Google stuff, and I will never, like, I'm not even going to look at that because what we're doing is a huge focus, and I think it's hard to do you can't know all the things.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's so we'll just head down that path. There's two challenges. One is well, two to focus related to this. One is a lot of home service companies. I know we probably do I think last month we did 100 strategy sessions in 1 month. And out of the 100 strategy sessions with companies that were interviewing us, looking at hiring CIO up group, I would probably say about 60%. One of the first thing that they said was they wanted an agency that um, did everything.
Yeah.
Everything is they wanted a one-stop shop. And I've got pretty frank conversations with them like, like the likelihood of you being able to find an agency that spot is everything is really freaking hard. I don't know if moms give birth to humans that are good at the analytical side, the creative side, the digital side, the coding side, right? Right.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's so hard. I get why people say that, right? Because it's like less conversations that you have to have. And as a marketing company, it's so much better when we're talking to all the other marketing companies and know what they're doing. So everybody's on the same page. So there's definitely more moving parts, but it is so hard to find somebody who's going to be good at everything.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't know what the right answer is. There are pros and cons. There's pros and cons to both,
Yeah.
right? There's pros to being able to identify spot partners, and make sure that they're exceptional at the things that they deliver and they deliver it well. And you're not getting the ancillary services they happen to provide on the side that don't get a lot of attention.
Right.
Um, and there are pros to having one point of contact and a collaborative team of people that are working on delivering on the same strategy at the same time across multiple platforms and marketing strategies. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that's ideally is like it's like this. I know on the paid advertising space, we've built really strong partners. We've tried to identify who's the best of the best of the best, and while we can do paid ads in-house, I want strategic partners that we have enough of a relationship where when we have a quarterly business review, we can get on the phone and we can have a strategic conversation with each of the parties that's pulling levers in each of the different things. And ideally, I feel like that's the best scenario is you and your team and our team on the web and SEO and the paid guy or gal all
Yeah.
come together and not fighting to acquire the whole business, but fighting for the business together and making sure there's alignment.
For sure. For sure. And I think too, what we find then works well internally is that also having someone in charge of that. If you have um, if your business is set up and ready for that, but having some sort of marketing coordinator or someone in charge of your marketing can also help that,
Oh yeah.
those multiple relationships.
Yeah. Well, that leads to I think the second topic is why can't I just do this in house? I've got all this
Yeah.
money going out to different agencies and so forth, and why don't I bring it in house? I mean, my So bringing in a marketing coordinator in-house, very critical as you move through different phases of your business. That's almost something you can't afford not to do.
For
Um,
sure.
but thinking that you can bring in a guy or a gal in-house that can do all of your marketing, I mean, I
That's
think
even worse than
that's
one company.
really bad. Really bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, all your software costs just went through the roof because you have no buying power. We have 1,000
Yeah.
clients on a platform. I paid $25. You're going to pay 500 for the same software. So now you're paying
Yeah.
huge software costs, right? So
Oh,
how's it work when you've got a client that's working with the marketing agency? Maybe there's another paid ads group and they don't have a marketing coordinator in-house that is the liaison between the owner operator, the business, and the agencies versus when you do have somebody that's savvy, sophisticated, got project management experience, and is able to coordinate all those moving parts. What's the
yeah.
difference?
I mean, for us in social media, okay, just in general, what I've seen in working with contractors is that owners tend to be bottlenecks, and not because you're not good at what you do as an owner, but because there's so many things that you're focused on that it's really hard for you to move projects forward in marketing. And marketing moves quickly. And so, it's hard when we're working with somebody who doesn't have someone in charge and they're busy enough to where they need that, or they're at a place where they need that. So then it can be like weeks or months while we're still waiting on just like a, yes, okay, that's cool, let's do it. And at that point,
By
it's
the time you approved your graphic, it's a new season, sweetheart.
yeah, yeah.
The
And
weather
we
is
actually don't have an approval process because of that, because social media moves so fast. It is not worth the time and energy to approve every single thing that we're doing. Social media's impact comes over time with consistency, with visibility of being everywhere all the time. And so the amount of energy that it takes to look at something and say, oh, can we change this color, or can this be this word rather than this word? It's not worth that. It doesn't, and not to say that those little things aren't important. And so if you have a branding guide, and so we know how to use all of your brand, then that shouldn't be a problem either. But we don't, what really ends up happening for us is that in order to do social media well, in a social media that actually can be an asset for you, which means that you're showing up in the newsfeed and you're creating visibility for your company, you need to have engaging content. And it's not like it needs to be hard. It just needs to be fresh. It needs to be of the people on your team. It needs to be a little bit fun, a little bit behind the scenes. And that also takes someone being in charge of that. And so
Yeah.
that's when we have a marketing coordinator for us, that gives us that person that's like, hey, it would be really great if you just grab these things, and it
Yeah.
makes things a little bit easier. But usually we just encourage the owner to find someone to hand off the information, the content to, and that way we can get it.
Yes, because speed matters. Speed
Yeah.
matters. Your ability to deliver quickly, make decision, and I'm glad you took the owners out of the decision-making process because that erodes velocity, which
Yeah.
erodes results, and that we have to keep you from hurting you.
I literally learned that with like my second client ever, when this was like a side hustle to me, that I was like, oh my God, we're spending so much time on the part of it that, and I don't like to say doesn't matter, because it matters, but there's a bigger picture that is even more of an impact. And so you have to choose the most important thing. And the most important thing is consistency and visibility and what you look like over a long period of time, rather than just like one thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Consistency and repetition out of the gate, and as a business owner, I would advise, like, you have to learn over time where to apply weight because weight
Mhm.
expends energy, and energy takes up time, and time erodes velocity, and velocity is what creates results. So
Yeah,
if you expend too much energy on something like the colors or the background or the image or even a typo,
I know.
like
Well, typos can be good on social media,
I
or
I
like
agree because then it's
purposely.
legit content. Like,
Yeah, I think
relax.
too, like our brains will notice it, like, because it's different than how we expect it to be. And so they actually can create more engagement just because our brains pick up on it. And then you have the engagement of people correcting you, which you can do intentionally or unintentionally. We actually tell our clients, like, we have a 3-step editing process, but sometimes there are grammar and spelling mistakes that get by because of the amount of content that we're putting out. But it's not always a bad thing. So we never want to do it like consistently. And we definitely don't ever want to do something that makes people look stupid or makes them look like, puts them in a bad light. But a little spelling grammar error here and there isn't going to be the worst thing. It's honestly kind of a good thing.
I would support you in that, and I would say it's not somewhere to expend your time, energy, or weight, or lose velocity or momentum from. Get over it. The content is gone in 2.5 seconds anyway. You're cool. It's good.
Yeah,
We're moving forward. Like,
for sure. I
and it's
know.
real.
It's
And
good.
it's
It's better
real.
to get it out there.
Yes, I would agree completely. Um, yeah, I would agree completely. So content, I was just at an event last week and um I was talking about social media. I've got 5 things they need to focus on for 2025. 5. Like, get out
Yeah.
of work, move into low code. It's time to do a full content overview on all your web content. Almost like it should change, but it's really, really, really changed. And you got to be able to compete on AI. Right now, you need to be focused on search everywhere optimization, not just search engine optimization. And the next one is, like, you gotta commit to delivering social media content, creating social media content every single freaking day, come hell or high water. And it was funny because we're in there and you could see all kind of the crusties like, "Mm-mm, not doing it." And they're like, "You don't like how I look?" I'm like, "You're here?
Yeah.
Like, you showed up. Do you go to a client's house?" "Well, yeah." I'm
Right.
like, "Okay." So, how many of you woke up and said, well, if I could just clone myself, we'd be a bigger company. If I could create a copy of myself, then we'd do more sales. If I was able to clone me, I'm the best, I'm the owner, I'm the one. You can. That's what social media is. That's what
I
creating
know.
content is. So
Hmm.
how do you go? It was funny because there was a group over in the corner, and I could tell one of the teams had brought their kids who were in the business, but in their probably 18 to 21. And
Hmm.
the whole time I'm talking, they're on ChatGPT researching everything that I'm saying. Thumbs are flying. These guys are, you could
Yeah.
see their scroll sliding through screens. And I was like, if you don't do it, find them. Like,
Hmm.
find that person in your company that makes you crazy because they're scrolling 24/7. If you don't have a marketing coordinator, someone in your office is
Yeah.
good on social, and give them the role of being the content creator, of becoming a documentarian for your business, and let's start making
Right.
clones. Like, how do you get the company that is not committed to creating content on a regular basis, feels like there's 900 excuses, I don't have someone focused on that, I'm not doing it, I don't like it. How do you get them through that? Or do you even take them on as a client if they don't commit to providing you with legit content on a regular basis?
I mean, I think that we we have a standard for ourselves, so we will only use it, pictures and videos of you and your team in our content. So there's a couple ways that people get that. So like one, of course, they give it to somebody in house. So it could be someone in the office, it could be someone in the field. Like there are both of those that exist, people that are comfortable doing that. Um, we encourage them or even help them find a local photographer or videographer to come in. We give them a whole shot list. We give them all the video ideas. We've gone on site and done this also, gotten all of the video because we could take a day and get 6 to 12 months worth of
Yep.
content pretty easily. Um, we have people who incentivize their team. So in different ways, it could be whoever can bring in the most pictures or selfies with customers. It could be whoever has the piece of content that has the goes the most viral for the month. I also have a social media mentorship for people in house who are tasked with social media, but just need more accountability and how to.
Oh, I love
And
that.
so one of the women in that group was saying that she put it in her so she sends out a text through Service Titan or through Dispatcher to her text and tells them to send a picture. She calls it something cute, like something in the wild, and then she says to send a picture of like their truck wherever it's at so that she has like those pictures to use for things. And so I was like, next you should do like a
I
selfie.
love
I've also seen it be like on their daily checklist to take a picture of you next to the truck as like one of their things. So there's a
Oh,
lot of
nice.
creative ways to do it. Whether it's handing it off to someone on your team, hiring somebody, and even like, okay, Jen, so you want us to like go and hire a photographer? It's really not as much of an investment as you might think, and it really could save you so much time and energy. I mean, to spend less than $2,000 on something that you can then use for months, I think it's a great, and you can use it for your website, you can use it for your social, you can use it for all of your marketing materials. Like, there's really no reason to not have that investment at some point. Like, even for me personally, I take branding photos yearly because like I need content. So that's something that I
I
invest in.
I suck so bad at that. All of my speaker pictures are blonde. I
Yeah.
sh I need to take a portfolio of pictures with every hair color that I choose.
Right. Just so you can hand them off. I love taking branding photos, and I know not everybody does, and people have their own opinions about themselves, but I think it's really fun, and it's like a business expense. So
I'm gonna take that as a personal note for myself to just get her done. I've been
yeah,
putting that off and making excuses, so I appreciate the,
for sure. It's necessary. And then it's social
yeah.
media content because I think too, like if you want to talk a little bit about personal branding when it comes to social media, and that's a really big part being a business owner. And so, in one thing that makes personal branding really hard, I've also been doing like these personal branding masterminds, sitting down with owners about it. And people don't like, I don't know what to say, or I don't know what to talk about. I don't know. Like, and so when you have a content bank of things that you say, and you have pictures already, so whether it's like these pictures of your team or these pictures of yourself, it makes coming up with content a lot easier because you're not starting from scratch. You have a bank of things that you're talking about. So like in your business,
Yeah.
that's having a photographer come in, getting all of these photos done, and then there are things that you can use. And then, go to your blog posts, go to your service titan in the past jobs that people have um, called in on it, go to your call logs. Like, why are people calling? What are they experiencing? Like, this is your social media content. And then the same with your personal brand. What conversations have you been having in your meetings? Do you have an AI listening that you can just plug it into ChatGPT and say, what am I talking about? What is my themes? Like, what do I always share? What are some great quotes that I say? And then keep those all in a spreadsheet somewhere and just mix and match.
Yes. These are, I call them
So
the
easy.
ABCs. It is. It's like my closet,
Right, right. You already have it there. Like, just gotta
right?
get it on social.
Yeah. That's so funny. I literally just went straight to my closet because when you travel as much, i.e., you need to post as much content. I have
Yeah.
everything. All my clothes are from one brand. I can mix any color with any color. I can grab anything because the materials this. I like,
That's
but I mean,
perfect.
it's literally that when you need to do something repetitively and it's a requirement, like travel is, for me, you design systems
Yeah,
that are repeatable so that you don't get overwhelmed and you can execute with velocity, right? You can execute with speed. Yeah, I totally agree.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
I've had a lot of conversations with company owners, operators that really struggle with the why do I need a personal brand? I was like, well, I'm pretty sure last time we talked, you said you needed to hire and no one wants to come work for you.
Yeah.
You might start with that one. Like if you a lot of potential prospects or prospective employees are looking for a home. Where do they want to come? They're looking for mentorship, leadership, vision, inspiration, training, education, safety, right? They're looking for all these things. So, why would they want to come work for you? And how are they going to find that out if they don't come into the interview? It's no different than if a customer visits your website and it looks like a DIY project and you look rinky-dink or not safe or insecure or whatever all the issues are, you never
Yeah.
got a chance to pitch the client because you didn't get the at bat. You lost them at hello. Or the same thing happens when it comes to recruiting is
Mm,
if they're really looking to be a part of a team that's a player in the industry, has some longevity, has a vision, is there, whether it's you're trying to decrease global warming or change the environment or help families or whatever that is, like if they can't see it, you don't even get the at bat, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think even for home service providers, like you're serving a community. And so when I start a personal branding mastermind, like that is the first question is like, who are you trying to who is your eventual audience? Because a lot of times like these are people who already own a business. And so it's not necessarily about growing the business, although that is also a benefit of a personal brand. And so it's about your messaging too. Like what conversations are you having on your personal content? So if it is to attract better recruits, then everything you just listed is like what your major themes are is what's important to you and sharing the culture of your team and sharing the things that you're doing as a leader and just like who your team is. If you're trying to grow your business, then you're showing all of the things that you're doing in your community and how you're serving your community and why your community is important to you and all the things other people are doing in your community. And so I think that as we become more inundated with AI and it's so easy to just like put out a bunch of content, people are more going to be attracted to real people. And so that's where our personal brand can be so powerful because it's something that at this point is hard to fake. Not to say that it won't be hard to fake in the future, but in all of your social media is an elevation of all your other marketing. And so if you're in the community at because you sponsored a music in the park that they had, and so you went there, then you also are sharing that on your social media, taking pictures of it, taking videos of it. And the same with your personal brand. If you're out and you have a community business and you're at a local hamburger shop and you're taking pictures of yourself there, now you're promoting their business and you're also sharing that you're in the community. So everything is like an elevation of what you're doing in real life, and then you're elevating it
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah, I would agree. I have 2 routes I wanna go to next. One, so I don't wanna forget one of them. Don't let me forget the political thing. Okay. But before we go down that rabbit hole, um, when you guys are going to events, like, I would encourage every owner operator of a home service company to watch as much as they might make you crazy. Uh, Watch the marketers that are at the same events you are, even if they've got a booth and they're hawking their wares and tears and handing out koozies and whatever, all of that stuff doesn't matter. What does matter is if you want to know how to market your own business, watch them at events. Because if they watch you at an event or Tim Hook at an event or Tersh at an event, like, or Crystal Williams at an event, like, there's all these marketers, these players in the industry that know that their time can be multiplied if they can get compounding interest impact, right? Where the dollar that I invest today, the minute I invest today, is worth exponentially more in the future if they document all of those moments and create
Right.
permanent assets that have compounding interest impacts on your business. These are the
Hmm.
people to follow. Watch Jen and what she does at an event and do
Yeah.
that. Like, start
Yeah.
there.
And you just like keep using it over and over again. That's where you're elevating all of the other things, and it works in a home service business. Like if you're putting yard signs out, take video of you putting yard signs out, take pictures of the yard signs, and then use that as a carousel of like these 10 houses that all have your yard signs in front of it. Like take pictures of you going to pick up all the yard signs at the local print shop. Like keep using documenting, like you said it earlier. It's all just documentation, and it's a habit that you get into, and you have to get comfortable doing it and reminding yourself that everything. There was like this "everything is content" song that was like on TikTok. They're like everything is content, like literally everything is content,
Everything
and
is
you
content.
you share your story by documenting what you're doing. And so it's not, you don't need to be a Photoshop genius or even like huge Canva understander. You don't need to have a ton of a design aesthetic in order to really make an impact on social media. You just need to get in the habit of documenting, yeah, on your phone. And you
This
need to
is
get in the habit of posting the content, because I do love when we get a new client and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have so many pictures and videos." Like, and they're just all sitting in a drive. I'm like, like pot of gold. Great, send it over. Like we'll tell that story forever. And we do, and we do have clients that they have a culture of documentation. Like they literally are constantly taking pictures and videos and things and uploading them. And a lot of times it starts with the leader. It's something that they do and have encouraged, and so now they have it. But it's not a hard thing. It doesn't take a ton of time. It just takes practice and getting used to, and not feeling uncomfortable because you're taking a picture of something and um,
mhm.
putting yourself
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, I would agree. There's also key players in the home service space you should watch. I, the ones I'm gonna the ones I'm gonna throw out, and I know you have more than I do, but the ones going to throw out, this is the woman of the business who has made sure Stephanie Allen,
Yeah.
Airworks, Game On, right?
Yeah.
Anchor,
Uh
Game On.
huh.
She is
Hmm.
amazing, right? And it might not be their husbands that are out there, but it doesn't matter if they're on a vacation or if they are giving a gift of wine bottle to their best client, or they got a referral, or they're attending an event. Find those people as
Yeah.
well if you need some inspiration. Because the reality is there's we've analyzed over 60,000 HVAC companies.
Mhm.
And out of those 60,000, the majority of HVAC owner operators that are not committed to social media content, not committed to organic marketing and SEO, not committed to really committed to building their reviews, and maybe they're dibbling and dabbling in it. They do not get over $2 million in gross revenue in residential AOR business, period.
Mm.
So the reality is I can tell you the size of any company. All I need is their URL. If you give me a website address, I can tell you physically how much gross revenue that company does in AOR business, not commercial projects and new construction and so forth. But it is
Yeah.
very easy to determine the size of a business based on their digital footprint.
Mhm.
Because every asset, a page on a website ranking in front of consumers for a high demand search term in a specific market you're willing to serve, social media content and the repurposing of it, the engagement with it, and so forth. All of these things increase your exposure. And if you're not going to do those things, then you're likely going to be comfortable sitting between $1 million and $2 million in gross revenue forever. And you might
Mhm.
as well spend the money on shoes and go shake hands and kiss babies, because that's you need a good friend network, continue to grow the business. You're not going to get over that hump. Like, you've got to invest in being visible to consumers when and where they search, and in
Mhm.
becoming a documentarian and leveraging social media to expand the total visibility, gain interest in consumers' attention, create trust and transparency, so you can convert people that didn't already know you, that you didn't go to school
Yeah.
with, don't live in your neighborhood, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and that's really what it's about, is it visibility. And you have to have visibility to grow your business. It's just
Otherwise, yeah.
impossible not to.
Otherwise, you have a lot of friends.
Yeah,
And then if you are sitting in that, then better be focused on lifetime value
I
and
know.
your referral
Well,
program.
it's the, like, if you're not growing, you're dying, because inevitably you're gonna always be losing people. It's just the way that it goes. So you always
Right.
have to be gaining new people. And so and where are you going to find them?
Yep. And not to be negative, but if I tie this into all of the last 7 podcasts where we have brought on our private equity customers and talked about acquisitions, the value of your company is impacted like that by this. If you are
Mhm.
sitting at $1 to $2 million and you do not have a strong digital presence, a good organic footprint, a strong brand in your community, you're considered, I'm going to circle it, a tuck in, which has
Mhm.
a lower market value, a lower
Mhm.
multiple, and typically just gets absorbed into a company that does have a strong brand and does have a good footprint and is
Yeah.
growing. So just be
Yeah.
careful, right? Otherwise, what's the point of running a business, having all the liability,
Yeah.
all of the risk, and it's still feeling like a job with very
Right.
little value when you decide to exit?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I actually did bring I can't say his last name right, so I'm like hesitant to say him, but he's a broker, to talk about the value that social media can actually bring on your business and the difference that it makes when you do have a strong brand and a strong um I mean, exactly what you said. Like, no matter, even if a business is bigger than you, if they're perceived as not as big as you based on your branding and your visibility, you still could be acquired by that brand because they have more visibility than you do.
Yeah. Your digital footprint levels the playing field. It can make a tiny company look like an enormous company. It can allow a small company be able to demand the prices of a larger company with
Right.
greater margins because they have smaller expenses. It can
Mhm.
This is I can't even can't even, the list is too long of the reasons why. If you decided you wanted to quit your day job and become an entrepreneur, you have to put these things on your list of things you're responsible for doing as an owner operator. Okay,
Yeah.
so how are we doing on time? I want to cover this real quick. I'm going to bring up tariffs. And I'll just throw this out there. In my company, I have my 5 rules of social media. No one has to agree to them. Don't care. But when you start with our company, you do sign something that says your social media account, no politics, no religion, no sports. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. No negativity and nothing related to sex.
Yeah. I
So
could agree with all of those except for the sports one, but
I
sure.
know. And I'll tell you the only reason why I added that is I had, this is probably 15 years ago in the business. I was doing a lot of business with the Dallas Mavs and the Cowboys, and I had the opportunity to bid on the Heat
Uh-huh.
digital marketing project. And because we were touting
Oh,
content related
yeah.
to the Cowboys, Cowgirls,
Oh man.
I lost the bid.
Yeah,
Uh, and
I
at
could
that
see
point,
that.
really it was, how important is me posting about sports if 50% of the audience, or in that case, like 98% or whatever it is, absolutely dislikes whatever it is. And that's kind of the thing with social media is, does it serve me well? And if the
Yeah,
content is just a bad habit or it makes you feel good or it's fun, but it could potentially damage your business, your brand, or there's
for
50%
sure.
who highly disagree with you,
Yeah,
should you post that or should you stop it? I feel like I want to get a hand slapper and go, stop, don't post
I
that.
know. I know. I know. I mean, I definitely agree. I think that, and you said tariffs. I don't know if you have a specific question or if you're just saying like, should you have an opinion on this or post about it? Is that what you're asking? Or is there a specific
So,
question related to that?
so
Or even just like how
there,
it could potentially affect people?
yeah. So there are obvious camps. Totally don't care
Yeah.
what camp he's in. There are
Yeah.
obvious impacts or potential impacts
Mm-hmm.
on consumers, and there are non-political ways to be able to educate consumers and potentially promote. Maybe you've went into your distributor, maybe you've purchased, you filled up your barn with equipment at the current cost and
Yeah.
you're sitting pretty, and you want to make sure that if there
That
are
people
price
know.
increases, right now I've got inventory, you can get it at a lower rate in case
Yeah.
costs are going up. How do they approach that from your point of view without making any political statements that would eliminate 50% of your potential audience?
Yeah. No, I think that that's really important. I think that it has to be from a really like a genuine place. Like I almost feel like when you were talking about it, it makes sense to do a video about it because it's some way that you can actually have the conversation that feels really genuinely coming. And just in case it because there are definitely owners that do have strong opinions and share them on Facebook. And there is caution against that. Like because even though it's not your business Facebook that you're sharing it on, people could still find that. And as somebody who serves any community, it's always going to be polarizing no matter what your views are. And so there's always that. And so there's one camp of like, well, if you don't have any strong opinions, then you're not attracting anyone. And that is true, but also there's some things that you don't need to have strong opinions on, especially as a home service provider. Like you have a very broad audience, like and so you never want to make anybody feel like you wouldn't be a good fit just because you wanted to post something on Facebook. So I 100% agree with that. I think the best way to do it is to like probably not even mention anything about anything
Tariffs.
political, right? And just simply say like And
cost.
because in HVAC, like we've seen this increase in cost to the contractor over the last year, at least in different ways. And so it's already been a conversation of, hey, things could get more expensive. Things could get more expensive. So if and maybe that's even like a one-on-one call, like having calls with your existing customers that have aging systems that this could potentially benefit. So I think there's definitely some ways to do it. I think video would be really helpful because then you could be really intentional about what you say. You can edit things out. Maybe don't do it live, but you can edit things out that aren't the right
Totally
thing to
different.
say. Um, so just a little tip on video, like you could, when I record videos and I'm using a script, I'm looking down at the script and then looking back at the camera, and then you just edit all that part out. So that's always a possibility if you want to be really intentional about what you're saying. But I think it's a great offer to put out there for sure. Put it out there in
Yeah.
many places if that's the where you're at. Send it to your email list, create an ad for it, create video about it, call your existing customer base about it. You could even send postcards about it. Like there's a lot of things that you could do. Just say it in a way that is definitely not pointing to anything political for sure.
Personal opinions. Yeah.
Yeah,
On a side note, caption disclosure. Welcome to the podcast. That is not cut at all. This is
I
recorded
know.
live right now.
I know. Yeah, it's okay.
Zero
No
cut
problem.
on the catalyst for the trades.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had a client that have a client that we got in a pretty good debate on the political um, discussion. This was a while back. This is like COVID era. And
yeah,
he happened to live close to our Houston home. And I was like, well, let's go have lunch and let's have the conversation. So we went to lunch, took him out to lunch. And afterwards, I was like, you know what? There's a neighborhood right behind this. We were at the Papacitos down the street. And I was like, let's go walk the neighborhood. We should continue the conversation. And it happened to be during election year.
yeah.
And so while we were walking, I was like, oh, do me a favor, go kick that sign over real quick. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, go grab that sign out of that yard, throw it across the street. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, I'm talking about the 50% of the audience that you're choosing to not work with, do business with.
Yeah.
Obviously, this means a lot to them, enough they're going to clutter their yard with this
Hmm.
paper little $2 signs. There's 20 of them
Yeah.
in the yard. Do you want to go pick them up? And it all
Yeah.
of a
That's
sudden
such
it
a good
dawned on me.
visual.
He was like, damn.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'll stop. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just
I
saying.
love that. That's a great visual. What a great story.
He was like, I'm
That's
never
really
going to go
good.
grab that sign. I was like,
Yeah.
well, A, this is Texas. They'll shoot you.
Yeah. That's awesome. I
In
love that.
Seattle, they're just going to throw eggs at you and call it a day with peace sign.
I know. For real. I live in
It was
Texas.
very funny.
You don't go do things to people's yards.
No, you don't do that. And you don't, you're running a business. You're not running for politics. It serves no purpose. It has no value. It does not serve
That's
you
what I'm
well.
saying.
Have
In this industry, you don't need to have an opinion on that.
it. Doesn't matter.
Like, not publicly. You can
Save
have
it
an
for your
opinion in your house, not
yes,
online.
yes. Save it for home. See how that
Right.
works.
Right.
Hopefully
Exactly.
everyone's on the same page. We all like potato salad. Oh
For
my
sure.
Okay, okay. All right. Automation. I don't know. What time did we start? Krista, am I in trouble? I don't even know what time we started.
5-minute warning. That's what
I
she
have a
said.
5. All right. So uh okay, so let's wrap this up with your obviously we are AI advocates, and
Yeah.
it's the reason why the fourth item on our list of 5 things you've got to commit to is real content.
Yeah.
Come hell or high water. But what are your thoughts on AI? How are you guys using it? How do you see it playing a role in social media or whatever else over time? Adoption rate with contractors, whatever route you want to take it.
Yeah. And so you also mentioned automation, and I feel like we put them together and they're not quite the same
Not the
thing.
same.
But so with AI, we, like I mentioned earlier, you have like there's already a bunch of things that you have data on. And so we love to use it like ChatGPT to extract data from things. And so whether it is the all of the assets that you have, like we even teach how to create a ChatGPT with all of your marketing assets and all of your things that you have so that you can just have it help you create content calendars and the things that you want to talk about. But you can get, and that's like on the basic side, right? And I don't want to be, I know that that's even a lot for some people, but one of my favorite things to do right now is to really have ChatGPT pull out the things that I talk about so that it is really easy to create content. And so anytime that I'm doing trainings, uploading transcripts, anytime I'm doing meetings, uploading transcripts, if you're using call by call, like you literally have all of this data that you can find trends in of what customers are saying, how you're responding to it, what type of services everybody is needing right now, and using that to create better content. Like, it used to be like, okay, like you need to figure out how your customer says something. Like we don't have to figure that out anymore. We have all of these things listening to us and we can transcribe it and then, find all of the things that are the same. Like it's making it so much easier to create content. Of course, you can use AI on Canva to remove things that you don't need from your images and reimpose things that you do. You can use AI to write captions that, especially if you give it really great data. So like taking a blog post that's already on your website, putting it into ChatGPT and asking it to pull out captions for you that you can use for social media, or create video scripts for you that you can use for social media. So I think it's really about finding the data that you already have, and then using AI to help us do better things with it. And so then you start to multiply. So now you're not having to try to come up with content ideas all the time because all of it already exists. Now you're just trying to put it into a system that's easy for you to use. Um, and and then of course, looking at automation, like all of your content should be scheduled. You should have a plan. We use tools to repurpose all of our content, because if you're putting out a post on Facebook, like why isn't it going on Instagram and why isn't it going on LinkedIn? If you're putting out a video, why isn't it on TikTok and on YouTube and on Instagram and on Facebook? So there are a lot of platforms. It takes a lot of time to do that, but there's tools that will do it in like a split second. So then the goal is just get everything scheduled and let automation do all the rest for you.
100%. 100%. I remember
The
like,
organic side. We know the paid side. We need speed to lead automation, and
yeah,
there's so many things. But sorry, I didn't mean
yeah.
to cut you off.
No, you're good. I mean, I remember sitting with our social media clients saying, "Okay, every time have all your people create a Google document and you're going to every question that a client
Yeah,
asks, you're going to write it in the Google document. And our
yeah,
job is to create all the answers to all those questions." And it was a big hoopla and everything. I'm
right.
like, no, upload all the transcripts,
Yeah,
provide me all of the client related questions, put it in a JSON format, export it to an Excel format, create all the blog posts, create all the social media
yeah.
content. Like it takes
So
2 seconds.
much easier. I mean, easier, but also it just gives us so much more to work with. And so
Yeah.
we don't
Yes.
have to we don't have to spend so much time like tracking data. We can pull the data and the robot does it in just a few seconds. Sometimes the robot gets it wrong, but and then you're like, is that really what was on there? Because I think you're confused.
Yeah, look at that. What do you think the life cycle is for people or companies who choose not to use AI?
Ooh, I liken it to, so I have two things about it. One of them is like, this is the Industrial Revolution. And it's very similar. People were very scared of the machines taking over and saying that there wouldn't be work for humans. And that's not what happens. The humans just get into different work and we let the machines do more for us. That's what AI is. And if you're not using it, all the people that are able to move faster and more efficiently and more consistently. And so like we're, I look at my team, and when we have meetings, and like we had our EOS rock workshop, and it's so fast to put in what our rock is, like what we want to accomplish out of it into chat GPT, and it workshops the entire thing for us in 2 seconds, right? Rather than
Mhm.
sitting there for 25 minutes just getting words on the paper, when ChatGPT was able to take all the things that we gave it, we told it what we were going to do, and we just needed to break it down and make it more manageable for us. Like, if you're not doing that, you're spending so much time doing things that the robot can do so much faster. So you really will be left behind. There's just like no other, there's no other way to look at
100% agree. My message is clear. AI will
it.
not replace all of the humans. It will replace every human who does not use AI. Get with
Yeah,
it.
100% agree with that.
Girl, thank you so much for
Yeah.
spending all this time with me today. I really, really appreciate it. I hope everybody that has attended, I know you've got one, two, three, four, five, however many points from this, even if it's a harsh
Yeah.
lesson that you don't necessarily want, like take it in, absorb it, have a coming to Jesus meeting with yourself.
Right.
The knowledge you're getting from this duo here is we have a tremendous amount of data from a tremendous amount of companies, uh, which is why you're getting these insights. Like, why wait to take the baseball bat to the forehead to wish you would have taken the lesson and done something with it? Entrepreneurs tend to like to learn the hard way. Like, stop it. My business coach would always tell me, if I could only get you to do what you already know you should, you'd consider me a genius. Like,
Right. That's good.
sink in with that one. Jen, you're
That's
amazing.
good.
Keep doing what you do in the industry. Keep serving the
Thank
trade.
you.
You're creating amazing things. I'm so proud of the waves you've been making in the industry so fast.
Thank
We love
you.
we love
I
working
appreciate
with
it.
you. All right. So if you guys are not doing social media, need help, need advice, she's got a mastermind, she has a coaching program, a mentorship program, all of these different you guys make sure you're following Jen, get involved, reach out. How do they reach you?
So we are Keyheart Marketing, KEEHART Marketing, and you can find us on, of course, every social platform at keyheartmarketing.com. And oh, you can also friend me on Facebook, Jen McKee.
Sweet. From the Gen Duo team, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.